Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you today? It is Wednesday. It's the Wednesday after our big event. All of our family has gone home. They went home yesterday. Today is my last day off. I return to work tomorrow. It has been a very, very busy week and a lot of events and a lot of family and a lot of time. Not a ton of reading, unfortunately, but it was amazing and we had a great time, and today was a day just to recuperate. We cleaned our house, we got everything put away, almost everything, but I hope you all are doing well. I missed you guys. I haven't been able to do much chatting on any of the social media outlets, and I have just gone through the comments this morning from the past video, so I hope you are all very well. So today what I did as sort of a way to kind of just rejuvenate myself is I went to the used bookstore that I've been telling you guys about, Recycled Books. That is my used bookstore in San Jose that I go to a lot. And when I just need an hour or two, I go there, I peruse the shelves, and today I just went kind of looking for anything that sounded interesting that I had maybe heard of. If it popped up on the shelf, I went with no agenda, which was fantastic. And I'm going to share those books with you that I purchased today and tell you a little bit about them. The first book I bought at the used bookstore is Norma by Sofi. Oksanen, I'm not saying that right, you guys know how I am. This book is actually fairly new, so I'm pretty excited that I found it at the used bookstore. This is about a young girl, what is her name? Anita, who has sort of special hair. It's kind of a retelling of the Rapunzel myth in a way. It's about, she has hair that moves on its own and can feel emotions and sort of reacts to situations. And she goes to a funeral for the mother of a man that that she knows. Sorry, that was a little bit of a pause. She goes to a funeral and her hair kind of informs her that the woman maybe didn't die from taking her own life as it was assumed, and sort of the mystery that comes with that. So I thought that sounded interesting. I actually saw this on Matthew's channel, and also I think Simon hauled it as well. So when I saw it on the shelf for practically nothing, I had to pick it up. That's Norma by Sofi Oksanen. Okay, now the next book, really I'm going to just tell you a couple things and you guys are going to know exactly why I picked it up. And that is A Quiet Life in the Country by T.E. Kinsey. This book is set in 1908. It's about Lady Emily Hardcastle, who is an older woman who is a sort of like a private detective spy, and her maid who knows karate. Do you need to know anything else? They move to a tiny town to sort of retire from the life that they led, and a murder occurs, and our main character realizes that she understands what happened more than the police, so she goes to investigate it. And an old woman, private investigator, and a maid who knows karate. How could I not pick this book up, you guys? And I guess it's part of a series. It's called The Lady Hardcastle Mysteries. Have you guys read this? I'd be fascinated to know. A Quiet Life in the Country by T.E. Kinsey. Okay. In my last video, I talked about how I needed to read some Ron Rash, an author who I had heard a ton about and really had wanted to pick up. And then someone in the comments, and I apologize that I can't remember your name off the top of my head, basically said you need to read Ron Rash. He's fantastic. So I picked up Serena by Ron Rash at the used bookstore. Now this was made into a movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper. I did not see the movie. All I know is that this is set in 1929, and it's about a couple that moves from the big city to the rural North Carolina with the intention of creating sort of a lumber empire and becoming very wealthy. It's about how Serena and her husband will do anything and take out anyone to be successful. So if you get on the wrong side of this family, they'll take you out. And I believe that Serena is the more ruthless of the two even. So I think this cover is beautiful, and I really do want to read a lot of Ron Rash because I've heard nothing but fantastic things. So I picked up this one, Serena. So Have you guys read that one? I'd love to hear about it. I'm going to say that a lot, actually. The next book I picked up because it seems like at Halloween there's always a lot of talk about Angela Carter. And I know that the biography just came out by her, and I was going down the aisle and I found this one, The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Now, I don't know much about Angela Carter. I know a lot of people really love her, and I think Jen Campbell speaks very highly of her. She does modern fairy tales, and you know how Jen, and actually Jen, Simon, all of them really love it, and I know that Angela Carter is well spoken of. This is sort of a retelling that says, from the familiar fairy tales and legends, Red Riding Hood, Bluebird, Puss in Boots, Beauty and the Beast, vampires, werewolves, Angela Carter has created an absorbing collection of dark, sensual, fantastic stories. So this is going to be my first sort of inroad into Angela Carter. I'm excited to see. Clearly, this is also a Rapunzel type image, and it was only a couple dollars, so how can you pass that up? The next two books I have never heard of. Gloria Naylor wrote this book, and it's called Linden Hills, and I have heard of her other book, The Women of Brewster Place, but I have not read anything by her. And this book sort of caught my attention for a couple reasons. It's about an affluent African-American community called Linden Hill, where you have to reach a certain status in society to even move into the community. And the way that the back describes it, it's kind of like Dante's Inferno, where there are different levels within the community where people live on different streets, meaning they've achieved different successes. And there is one house at the top of Linden Hill on Tupelo Drive, which is the goal of everyone that lives there. They want that house. But what they don't sort of acknowledge is that that house comes on the market quite often. And they don't ask the question of whatever happens to the people that do make it into that house and why they're gone and the house is back on the market. I thought that sounded oddly creepy. I love the idea of a sort of remake on Dante's Inferno. And I just thought this sounded fantastic, and I had never heard of it. So that's Gloria Naylor, and that's Linden Hills. The next book is actually was originally written in French. It's called The Solitude of Compassion by Giono, and I don't know who it was translated by. Let me see. Translated by Edward Ford, and it's translated from French, and it has a foreword by Henry Miller, who wrote like Topics of Cancer and all that. I'm going to read a little bit about this because this is a collection of interconnected short stories, and the way that the back describes it is a little bit more, it's going to be more concise than I can do that. So, The Solitude of Compassion is set in a small town in Provence, drawing on one village's cast of characters: the priest, the shepherds, the cafe regulars, and its owner, radiant, wise, and decent, at times immoral and coarse, occasionally visionary. Giono writes of a friendship forged in the battlefield trenches in the midst of World War I, of an old man's discovery of a transcendent song of the world, of the profound connection between man and beast, of human compassion and what lies beyond. Every inch of Giono's Provence breathes and glows with life in the 20 interlinked stories. His feeling for the human condition and almost uncanny connection to the land pours out in his lyrical prose, whether recreating the odor of the earth damp with fresh blood, the voice of the wind, or a man's private language when speaking to a wounded bird. So one, I thought this cover was gorgeous. Two, I thought that the idea of those interconnected short stories sounded amazing. And so I just picked it up. So I thought that was really great. Last but not least is an author who I follow on Twitter. I adore him on Twitter. And I have seen but never read any of his books. So I didn't know exactly where to start with Chris, and I'm not going to even try, you guys, his last name, because I don't want to ruin it. And he has a lot of books, so I didn't know where to start. So I just started picking them off the shelves and been like, okay, where am I going to start? And I landed on The Night Strangers. Now, the reason is because this book sounds creepy. It sounds perfect for October. And it also, the first few pages were amazingly literary. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to expect. So when you do that and you dive in and it's just like this literary beauty comes off the page, it's pretty amazing. So this is the story of a couple and their children. They move into a house. The couple is there because the father is a pilot and he had to bring down his plane in an emergency situation, and a lot of people lost their lives. So they moved to this house kind of to start over. And in this house, there is a door that is shut with 36 screws, I believe. Don't quote me on the number. But it's the same exact number as the people who passed away in the plane crash. And the door is thought to have been, what's behind it is thought to be a number of different things pertaining to the house and things that just isn't used anymore due to the age. And he starts to unscrew the house. He starts to unscrew the bolts that are keeping the door closed and sort of everything that comes to fruition. And the last line just says, some of the characters are dead. So some of the characters in the novels are ghosts. Are they ghosts from the house? Are they ghosts from the plane? I don't know, but I just thought it sounded so amazing. So I thought, you know what? I want to read him. Why not start with The Night Strangers by Chris? Not going to say his last name. So I am so happy to be back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this used bookstore book haul. I will be back on my regularly scheduled programming moving forward now that life is to return to a bit normal. I am going shopping with Joss over at Scribbles Reads on Saturday, so I will be meeting her and we will be doing some book shopping together, which is super exciting. And don't forget, if you are in the Bay Area on November 7th at East Bay Booksellers, I will be hosting a conversation between Jesse Chaffee and Jeff Nicholson regarding their books, Florence and Ecstasy and The Miranda. I've read them both now, so I have tons of stuff to talk to them about. So, as always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you are doing very well. Until next time, happy reading, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!